Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video, and today I'm doing a behind the scenes so far to part 3 of the Time Warrior, which is, going well. The hoiks have just been, taken care of in this part, where basically the Doctor uses his sonic to disable the sort of machinery on their backs to paralyze them. He don't kill them, he just paralyzes them. And that's, you find out that in the ship that there's dead Sontarans and that, and Commander Lynx thinks the only way to avenge them is, and sort of, say sorry to them for him letting them die, or making them die, is, to kill himself, which is very dark stuff, really. But yeah, it's rather dark. I didn't really, I don't know, I always intended it to be a bit dark, but not to this extent. It's quite dark, yeah. And even though the Doctor, at first, at the beginning of this sort of story, this episode, the third episode in Series 6, the Doctor doesn't really want the Sontaran here, but now he's willing to sort of, not take his place, but he would much rather, save the Sontaran, because now he knows that he's willing to kill him, to take his own life, to be with his men, to kind of say sorry to them for his mistake, because essentially the ship, right at the beginning, crash lands on the Eye of Orion. He never intended to be here, and whilst crashing, on the impact, obviously, his soldiers die. Whether or not I made that clear, I don't know. Luckily for me, these hoiks stood up this time in this part, which was cool. I've opened the curtain over yonder, so the lighting is a lot better in this part as well, which, because in part 2 and a bit in part 1 as well, maybe, the lighting was pretty bad. This piece of cardboard was supposed to be like a door, so, why didn't the Doctor just go underneath it? Well, you got to think the door is all the way down, and so therefore he wouldn't be able to. And he even tries using the sonic, and that's it's deadlock seal, so he can't get through, basically. And I think it is a 4-part story, but it is wrapping up quite quickly. But there is still some stuff in part 4, maybe. I feel like I'm doing these parts rather quickly, I haven't planned them as much as previous ones. Whether you can always comment below whether or not you think that's a good thing, a bad thing, whether or not you've enjoyed this part, specifically part 3, or part 1 the most, part 2, so on and so forth. But yeah, I don't know, I mean, it's quite an interesting one because I've done it in a way where the Sontaran isn't really the bad guy. There is no real bad guy in this one, if anything. If I had to say which character is the bad guy, I'd actually say it's Doctor, which is kind of weird. And what I mean by that is the fact that he kind of, doesn't want the Sontaran there, and is kind of arrogant and dismisses him, at first, and kind of dismisses the fact that he's even there, that he even is on this peaceful planet, and just shuns him away. And now that he knows that he's going to take his own life, is obviously, oh my god, actually, you know what, I should be grateful that, he's sort of here for, because, he might want to take his own life, and I think, it was wrong of him to shun the Sontaran away, and I think he's only just realising that by the fact that, now he's to honour my soldiers, I must join them in wherever they go next after death. This isn't an episode like Death in Heaven or Dark Water and Death in Heaven, where I'm trying to, get to the root of what I think's after death. I'm not doing that. I'm basically just, I'm just making the Doctor feel some sort of, I don't know, different emotions. Feel bad about the fact that he misjudged the Sontaran. He right at the beginning, if you look back on the beginning 2 parts, he really just shuns, or the second part, he really just shuns the Sontaran away, and stereotyped him as this horrible, destructive, carnage, and yeah, he's not really the most peaceful and nice person ever, but he wants what's best for his soldiers, and he he led them to the death, and yeah, he's sad about that. And the Doctor can see that now in this Sontaran, but rather than this Sontaran show that to the Doctor, he, kind of locks himself away in a section of the ship, the other side of the ship, and kind of, lets the Doctor just be on the other side. And yeah, I think there is, I don't know, I think I have a few ideas maybe for what can happen in part 4. It could change. I think I have an idea of what might happen. I have 2 big ideas about what might happen, 2 big ideas about what will happen in the next part, which is part 4. Alex isn't in this part, but she will be in part 4, maybe. That's one outcome, or the alternative is a different outcome. That's the thing. I don't know which outcome I want to go out with, and I don't know which is best, and I would love to be able to tell you which are the 2 options, but I don't want to give either of the options away, because either way I'm going to go with one of them, but I don't feel like I can make the decision. So yeah, this episode can go either way really, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not I think I've chosen the right sort of path, really, the right option. But yeah, this has been the Doctor's Assistant 1, doing another behind the scenes. Thanks for watching, comment, rate and subscribe.